In Alberta, search efforts are underway this hour following a fatal rock slide in Banff National Park. One person is confirmed dead. It happened near Bow Glacier Falls, about 200 kilometers northwest of Calgary. Parks Canada says the first report of the rockfall came in the early afternoon local time. Its visitor safety teams responded along with the RCMP, and they found one person dead at the scene. Two more were airlifted to hospital. A third was taken by ground ambulance. And my next guest was hiking with her two rescue dogs at Bow Glacier Falls at the time of the rock slide. Elly Jackson joins us now live. Elly, thank you for making time for us today. First, I just want to start by asking you how you are doing today.
I'm just trying to process it all. I'm quite tired from yesterday. It was a long day and not much sleep tonight, unfortunately.
If you don't mind, can you take me back to yesterday? Where were you and what happened?
So I was kind of at the base of the falls. I was a little bit further down from where other people were. I just stopped to chat with a lady that was in a hiking group there. And we're just sitting there talking for a little bit. And I was facing away from the falls when I heard just kind of a cracking sound. And I knew immediately what that sound was rock. But how loud the crack was, I looked over my shoulder and the whole sheet of rock was coming off, and it looked like a multi-story building, and it just came down with such force and exploded. And without hesitation, I got up and just started running. I grabbed my backpack and had my camera in my hand and my dogs, and I just ran as fast as I could, as far as I could, away from it, downhill. It's not easy terrain to run on, but
what was going through your mind as you're hearing this, that you immediately be able to identify as a rock slide? So as you heard that and you decided to take action, what was going through your mind?
I thought I was going to die. Because when I saw the rock coming down, I knew I couldn't survive that amount of rock. I've never seen that come off of any of the mountains ever here. So I just fight or flight, and it was flight. I just ran, and I hoped I would survive, and I did, and I'm virtually unharmed at all. Just a little bit of bruises, but I felt one little rock chip bounce off my arm. But I'm just thankful.
You know, I can even feel this as you're describing it, just how terrifying those moments must have been. As you see that coming, you're saying you felt a rock chip, and knowing, too, this terrain so well, you were really prepared also.
Yeah, I had a lot of equipment with me. I have my emergency satellite device. I put my phone into SOS mode as soon as I could. I bring a first aid kit. I have a tourniquet, a splint, a bunch of stuff to help people. I had an emergency blanket, and luckily other people did as well. And we tried to move people out of the area where it was still. I thought it was too dangerous to still be where they were, because I went back up to help them. And I said, if there's a secondary fall, I didn't want to be in that position, because more people would probably get hurt. So we moved them as far as we could to where it was safe and kind of flat. And then we just tried to treat the three people that we could at the time there.
I mean, Elly, it is remarkable. And of course, I'm sure there's so much gratitude for your actions that instead of entirely leaving, you stayed and you were so prepared and you were able to help. What were those conversations like? What were those discussions like as you were trying to take this immediate action?
It was just trying to figure out who was hurt. And people were just trying to help whoever were hurt and stay with them. And there was a lot of people that stayed. I can't believe how many people came together to help and do whatever they possibly could with their abilities and the equipment that they had to help. Some guy was hiking up higher, and he saw it, and he had a huge first aid kit, and he came running down to help everybody. Somebody ran back to get help at the lodge. Everybody was doing everything that they possibly could. And it was honestly just amazing to see how many people stayed. And even if they were still potentially in a little bit of danger, they stayed to help people.
Now, because you did stay, you also watched a lot of the crews and the emergency officials as they were doing their work. I understand that you saw there was 3 people who were airlifted. It is what I believe you told my producer you were able to help, which you've talked about. Tell me a little bit about the use of the equipment that you had with you that maybe others did not know would be necessary, and how critical and crucial that was for the moment you were in.
Well, I had some gauze and stuff like that. And there's a lot of cuts on people. There's a lot of blood, not any major bleeding. Like I always carry a tourniquet too. Luckily, nobody needed that. Um, but yeah, I used a splint. We used our gauze. The trying to keep people warm was the biggest thing because there was still wind up there, and there always is. But the biggest thing that we could do was mitigate the shock and just try to keep people warm until the actual help would arrive. Because unfortunately the injuries were pretty traumatic for a lot of the people, and there's nothing you can do really for that in the field. They just need to get to a hospital. So our main priority was keeping them warm and getting out an emergency signal and getting help.
You know, you talked about how this is a place that you frequent. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Where is there any sort of indication of risk?
Well, I mean, the Rockies are notorious for crumbling, and I've had friends call them the Rotten Rockies for a reason. But when I was heading up there, and I noticed there was water coming out of part of the rock that I'd never seen before, and I thought it was odd because it wasn't coming from the main waterfall. And I looked at that and I didn't think that was good. I've only been up there. This would be the third time. So I didn't get super close to it, but I thought it was odd. And speaking to somebody after, they said the same thing. And there's a couple other spots where the water was coming straight through the rocks, almost looked like a spring. And it's going to happen again because the water just eats away at the rock, and the freeze thaw, it's just going to crumble. I just wasn't expecting that much rock to come off at once.
You know, I'm looking at the most recent statement that has been put out about this incident, saying, of course, that there is an ongoing search going on right now. You say there was a lot of people there right now. Do you imagine there may be more individuals who could have been caught under the rocks?
There was one fellow there, unfortunately. He asked me more than once when I checked in on him where his friend was, and we couldn't find him. And where he was when it happened, they were up pretty high, so we were pretty sure that he didn't make it out, because one fellow that was there to help, he walked up towards where the rockfall was, and nobody else went up there because we just were not comfortable. And he was trying to see if he could hear anybody calling for help or making any noise, but with the wind and the waterfall there, you can't really hear much, and it was just way too much rock that came down. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's more people up there. I really hope not. I wasn't facing that direction to see people hiking up there, but I can't say for sure. I know there was at least one person that probably was unaccounted for.
How, Ellie, are you doing emotionally when you're trying to reflect on all of this and, of course, coping with what you saw and what you experienced? How are you doing?
I'm still processing that. I mean, I got back really late last night because it's a 2-hour drive from there. And I just need to go through the motions and allow myself to do that. Talking it out is kind of helping, and I think it's just something I need to do. But I'll need a few days to fully have it soak in and process. And luckily, my mom's flying out from British Columbia to come stay with me, to just have somebody here besides my dogs.
It will definitely be nice to have that support. You know, one final thing I wanted to ask. It says here in the updated statement that Banff National Park remains open and safe to visit. Do you think you'll go back?
Eventually, I just don't know if I'll ever do that hike again. And if I were, I don't think I'd go anywhere near that waterfall. Yeah.
Well, Ellie, I want to thank you for, of course, the actions that you took in that moment. I'm sure you helped so many, and they are grateful for it, and for sharing your experience with our viewers today. And I do hope that you're able to cope with this, and that, with your mom, you get the support, of course, that you need as you reflect on what's happened. Thanks for your time, Ellie.
No worries. Thank you.
That is Elly Jackson. She was hiking with her 2 dogs at Bow Glacier Falls at the time of the rockfall. Thank you.